This is a demonstration of the Russian doll technique, and each of those Russian dolls are slightly different sizes. I know it comes across on the movie, but the first one there is a small one. That's the next size, and that's the next size. So position 1, position 2, and position 3. Now, the client comes in. Obviously, this is a demonstration, but say, for example, the client has a fear of anxious about something. But I say to them, if you step into position 1, that's the person stepping into position 1 there, just represented by that little tiny Russian doll. And I'll get the client to close their eyes, and I'll get them to know on a scale of anxiety, or the SUD scale, 10 being high and 0 being low. Give them the 0 option, because 0 means it's gone. So then I say to them, okay, what I want you to do is to close your eyes, and I want you to really think about that issue, but get a felt feeling in your chest and in your stomach. About, not so much in your head. Really think about the issue, and you can embellish it for them. So you can see, hear what you can hear, and feel all those feelings in your chest and in your stomach, as if you're there now. And then you calibrate with the client, what number is it? If they're saying it's like 3 or 4, they're not really getting into they're not really doing it, so you have to put more effort into getting them to see it, feel it, and really get into buying into it's there. Once you got that, you ask them to get the number, so it's about even 6 or even 5, that's okay, 5's not too bad. You don't want to feel too bad, but at least they're getting something. Then you get them to step out of that position, so move backwards perhaps. So as they've moved out of the situation, I get them to physically, open their eyes and shake it off. Think about something completely different. Get them to change their mind, or think about, I don't know, a cartoon film. Think about what they're going to have for dinner tomorrow. Anything else but the issue. And then you calibrate again. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what's that like now? And they'll let you know. Obviously, if it's exactly the same, you've got a bit more work to do. So let's assume that it's exactly the same. Ask them what they're thinking to keep it the same, basically. What are they doing to keep it the same? Can they not think about something else? Even this simple technique will elicit so much information from your clients. It's almost like a litmus test before you do anything else. So once you've got them where you want them, the anxiety level's gone down a bit. So now I'm assuming they've got it down to a relatively comfortable level. Then I say to them, go into position number 2. So if you can step into position number 2, which is just there, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about everything in your life that you're really proud of, everything that makes you feel good about yourself. Whatever it is for them, it's their experience. If they got children, just sort of imagine you could the very first time you held those kids, or even if they got pets, imagine the very first time you held a pet and feel that love, that joy, and that happiness, and get them to have a felt feeling in their chest or their stomach, not so much in their head. Let's assume that the person there is feeling good, and I get them to calibrate on a scale from 0 to 1, 10 being really happy and really good about themselves. What number is it? If they say like 5 or 6, you've got more work to do. So embellish it even more. But let's say it's about 5, 6, or 8. 8's quite good. Then you get them to step out of that situation, but go to the position 3. So go directly to position 3. That's it, in position 3, good. And now in position 3, the large Russian doll. You can actually mention the large Russian doll, because before they were in the little tiny one. I forgot to actually mention that, but you mentioned the size of the Russian doll they're going into. Like position 1 is the tiny one, position 2 is the medium one, and position 3 is the large one. Because you might not have these 3 models to work with. So as you say, notice what happens now as you close your eyes, and just notice the subtle difference as you imagine just stepping inside that large Russian doll. And people can imagine that. It's really quite strange. They imagine, when they close their eyes, they can imagine anything, especially the problem they've got. But if you close your eyes now, just imagine stepping inside that large Russian doll. Just notice how you stood slightly taller, and notice how your chest is, but notice how you feel unstoppable. And notice everything you had in position number 2, and just make it bigger, brighter. Feel those emotions, hear those voices, and notice what it feels like as you crank up all those things up, and then just calibrate that. Open your eyes, but before you say open your eyes, just say to them, what's it like on a scale from 1 to 10 before you do that. But most people really sort of absorb in this, And the more they absorb in the positive thingamajig, the positive emotion, it's hard to get back to the difficult state, which you'll find in a minute. So then you get them to open the eyes, calibrate on a scale from 1 to 10, what's it like? And most people will say it's 10. If they say it's 10, you can actually even make it even bigger if you want to. It's up to you. It's very flexible, this model. Now, if you want to get value out of this and you've got a lot of time for your client, I say to them, go back to position number 2 and then embellish it. Remember what it's like, because you're actually creating neural pathways within the mind here. So when you go backwards and forwards from 2 to 3, and you're getting bigger and bigger in that situation, and then do it again, bigger and bigger, and then go to position number 3, and you're embellishing every time you do that. I mean, we've skipped it for this process, but you'd get the client to have the same feeling they had before, but make it even bigger, so they can associate these good things. Don't forget, people who come to see you, they metaphorically, they've been living their whole life in that tiny Russian doll. So what you get to do now, this is where the fun bit starts, and I use the term fun bit, so because when you say the word fun, even their subconscious mind takes on fun. It's the least path of resistance, and that's why this process works. So you say to them now, okay, now you're feeling good, which is number 10. I want you to go back into position number 2. But before you go back into position number 2, I want you to imagine as if you're going to bring to bear all the good stuff you have for number 3 and number 2, as if stepping down onto number 1, even though you're in position number 2. That's it. So as you're in position number 2 now, you're going to bring to bear all the good stuff from 2 and 3, the medium-sized Russian doll and the large Russian doll, as if crushing that tiny Russian doll that is in position number 1. So you get the client to notice what it's like now. Ask them, what's the difference? Because when people search for the difference, they'll notice the difference. So if you say to them, what's the same? Some people might say it's always the same, because it will be the same. So you say, what's the difference now? Try to get back that feeling you used to have, which you came in for. And they'll notice a subtle difference, and that's it's almost like a eureka moment for you, but also for them, because you'll be surprised how quick and effective this works. Then you say, okay, this is where the real fun starts. Go back into, also calibrate, try to get back that feeling, what's it like now? You can say the word try, but because hypnotherapist, try is obviously to fail. But with this process, you don't even have to use that try, because it works. Then you say on a scale from 1 to 10, what's it like now? They usually report they can't get the thing back, it's different, I can't be bothered to go in there. Then you say to them, okay, now go back into position 1 and notice the difference. So you've given them, you've almost like thrown the gauntlet down now. What's the difference now and there? And they'll tell you they can't be bothered to do it, or it's just not part of them anymore. So what you've done in essentially is this. You've disassociated them from the issue. And I say to people, just imagine you can live your life in that large Russian doll over there. So you get the large one, as if looking down and going backwards. So you can step out of the situation twice. And as you step out of the situation, just notice how you get more clarity over it.